Hey guys, I'm going to show you some of the features of iBooks in case you've never utilized iBooks in the past as much as you really have, because we're going to be using it for almost anything we read in here, so especially our novels. Now I've gone over with one class some of the theme features, which is this the big A and the little a up in the upper right hand corner, and if you notice I can go ahead and make my font bigger if I need to make the font bigger for reading purposes. Obviously the brightness is affected here. I can go ahead and change that there. Also the fonts. Now I highly recommend everyone change their font to Iowan because that's the only way to do it. But you have those other fonts there available as well for you, so that way you can use any of those. The themes one is really handy that I particularly like because I do some of my reading at night before I go to bed, and if I do, I choose that night feature, the third one. And obviously it blackens the screen, so you can go ahead and make it a little easier for your eyes to read at night, or even on the bus back from a ball game or something like that. You can use any of those features. The sepia just makes it a little more brown, so it's a little easier on your eyes as well. But then you have these three other versions, and these are kind of more important and really tailored to how you prefer to read the book. If I want to, I can have it in book format, and book format makes it look like a book, where I can turn the pages and so forth. The next one is full screen, where it basically flattens it, makes it more 2D, so that way I have both pages still and I still flip the pages just like I would a regular book and all that good stuff. But then I have the third one, which is scroll, and the scroll feature actually puts the entire book into one scrollable document. And right now it's kind of thinking, if you notice the dots on the right hand side are sort of recalculating what's happening throughout the book and basically making each chapter an entire page that you can just scroll on through. There we go. So if I keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling until I reach the very bottom of that page, this is all one chapter. Don't think it's one page. It's all one chapter. And when I finally get to the bottom, that's my next chapter. So it breaks it up per chapter, which is kind of handy because that's how we're going to end up reading the book. So you can use that any way you want. The next feature that I really like, you'll notice that some of this has already been highlighted, and some of you have already done this, which is fine, so you can skip this part. But for those that haven't, that highlighting stuff is really helpful, especially when you are trying to really work with the text in order to make it your own and try to understand it. So for example, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to double tap on a word, and when I hold it, for example, over, and when I hold it, it just selects that word. And with that one word, I have some options. I have copy, define, highlight, note, search, and share. So what I could do is I could just copy that word and then paste it into something else. Or I don't know what that word means, so I'm going to hit define, and when I do, directly within iBooks brings up the dictionary. Very handy. But for whatever reason, maybe that doesn't really help me out that much, then I can go ahead and I can search the web, or I can also search Wikipedia. And when we get to the Odyssey and we get to these weird, crazy Greek mythology names, searching Wikipedia will actually be very handy. So keep that one in the back of your mind as you work through this. Also, when I go and I highlight over again one more time, I have the next option, which is simply highlight it, meaning it's something important or it's a vocab word. And I just want to highlight it. That's it. So I can click highlight, and then I can also, some second options come up, and I can then select my color, which is the first one. I can then say, wait, oops, I didn't want to highlight that, and that's what that circle with the red line through it means. Or it's saying I can go ahead and add a sticky note to it, and then the last one can actually, I can actually mail that. So if they're like excerpts from the story, you're like, this is so important. This was really this really made me think about something, and someone else would understand what you're talking about. Like, you want to send it to them, you can email it to them, you can message it to them, which you guys can't do this year. You could tweet it out if you were at home and had access to Twitter, Facebook, anything like that. So that's kind of a nice little feature as well. I'm going to highlight that word once again. There we go. And then my second set is I can go back and copy define if I want to. But I can do this with even a group of words. So if I select one and see the little dot at the very end, if I click on that dot and I can drag it out, say I want to select more than one word, I can drag it out to exactly what I want to highlight. Let's just say that section. And once I do, my same options pop up. But this time, instead of just highlighting, I want to actually make a note. there's something important with this, meaning I want to make a reaction. Maybe I don't get it, and I want to ask about it when I get to class. So I click on the note, and when I do, I get a sticky note, and I can go ahead and ask my question, whatever that might be. Or if you're reacting to it, this is an example of juxtaposition. You guys will be highlighting certain things as far as identifying juxtaposition, exaggeration, and the other elements of satire. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. But say this particular section, and all I'm doing is that section I just highlighted, I'm going to tap on it. And when I do, I get my options saying, well, what do you want to do with this section that's in fact highlighted? And I'm going to be like, I want to change the color to that section to blue. So what I just highlighted, I could actually change the different colors in order to signify the different reasonings for highlighting. You know, the people who are really hyper organized and like using those different colors to keep things organized, this is fantastic. Or I can simply just go ahead and underline it. Maybe it was just important enough, or I just want to underline it. But highlighting sort of maybe draws a little bit more attention to it. But you have that feature there. The other thing that a lot of people don't realize is I can actually bookmark this particular page. So even in my scrolling feature, say this is an important page that I want to come back to. In the upper right hand corner, I can go ahead and hit that little bookmark symbol, and now it'll bookmark that page. Now why is that important? That doesn't mean that when I close iBooks, it's going to come back to that page that I bookmarked. What iBooks does is it always opens up to the last page that you were on. So if I just keep reading, notice how my bookmark goes away because I'm on a different page. I keep reading, and this is where I stop. When I close and come back, iBooks opens right there, not on my last bookmark. So why is bookmarking important? Maybe this particular page, the whole page, not just the section, but this whole page was really important because it signified something of importance. Then what you need to do is I have that bookmarked. In the upper left hand corner, I have two buttons, library, and then another one with like some bullets and some lines. That's my chapter button. So now I go to my chapters, and I have all my chapters that I can jump through back and forth. So rather than thumbing through a paperback notebook, I can just jump from one chapter to the next. However, notice that at the top I have three tabs: Contents, Bookmarks, and Notes. Contents is exactly what those chapter headings are. If I go to Bookmarks, now it has all those bookmarks that I have placed. Look, in this one book I have 5 bookmarks that I have placed. And I can go to any one of those. If I'm wondering, like, which one was that bookmark? Oh, and it even gives me the page number that I bookmarked and the date. So that really helps me to understand where I bookmarked for each of those. And if I simply just click on one, it'll take me right to that bookmark. Simple enough. I'm going to go back to my chapters because here's the other feature. The third tab is Notes. And when I click on Notes, it brings up all of my highlights. Look at that. So it not only shows the excerpt of the section in which I highlighted, it also writes what my note was. We got $6,000 a piece of gold. How much money was Tom and Huck left with? What was done with it? So that's a question that I'm popping up because those are questions that I'm going to be asking you guys when it comes to this stuff, because those are important details to the story. And what I really like too is it gives the date. That's really handy. But here's the cool part. You guys, at some point, probably early on, will actually be emailing these to me. One cool thing as a teacher is I need to be able to understand what you're thinking as you're reading. That helps me to understand how to teach this book a little bit better. So under the Notes section, what I can do is I can hit in the upper right hand corner, that square with the arrow, the export button. If I click on that, I can actually edit the notes, or I can share the entire book with those notes in it. So that really will help me down the road. I think that's all the features that I have to show you. I hope that you find this experience of reading Huck Finn and the other books we're going to be reading this semester maybe different, but maybe for a good reason. If you're the type of person that would prefer paperback, by all means, I'm not going to stop you as long as you read it. If you're the type of person that's more of an auditory learner, use those audio chapters. It works it works all those different ways. Either way, you're going to get the book. So, but this way, we can sort of make the book your own and play with it to make it help you understand it a little bit better. Hope that helps. We'll see ya.